Again, just like I said after the game, the film revealed the same thing, that Georgia played better than us, made plays in critical moments, made us miss, blocked us, did a very good job. There's many things we could do better and will. Again, I thought our team really came into it with the right attitude and worked hard in our preparation. You have to be, the margin for error against teams like that is very small, and you have to play your best football, and I didn't think we did that. Certainly, we had some mistakes early, and put us behind with the fumble early in the game, and then the false start. We had it down there in a good situation. Felt like we had a good play call and design. Made some mistakes and can't do that. Offensively, I thought we did some good things. Terry played very well, made some improvement. There's certainly things he can improve from in that game, but he did play well. And offensively, we had some good possessions, had some, moved the ball well, then got ourselves out of rhythm behind the chains and stalled out. You can't do that. Defensively, it was the worst game we played all year. I think that's pretty obvious, giving up the amount of rush yards that we did. Again, you have to credit Georgia for that, much of it, and there's certainly things we can do better. So excited to get back out there today and get the team motivated, and excited about another great opportunity to go on the road here against Tennessee and try to get the victory and close out the SEC play. So, we're worried about ourselves and getting better and improving in some of those areas.
Mark, we're at that window. There's 4 games left with the new redshirt rule. Are there guys we haven't seen yet who can kind of be fair game as we go down the stretch here this season?
I don't think there's anybody that's sitting out there that you haven't seen at this point. If they could help us win, they've been in there.
You mentioned punt return as a problematic area a couple of times this season. What did you see on the one that they broke off? Was it just Hardman being Hardman, or was it something that happened with you guys?
Well, fantastic returner, yeah. And not in the game plan where we had it placed, and missed some tackles in the open field. Again, part of that is because when you get it, just like Lynn's punt return, when you get a good, when you get a punt and you outkick your coverage, sometimes it gets those returners opportunity to get started. When they get started, as you saw in that game, whether it was on punt return or on defense, when they had space and then you create a one-on-one, it's very difficult to tackle some of those guys. And so it was a combination of things.
So it's not a trend you're necessarily worried about going forward?
No.
Mark, how much less stressful is it now that you know that you've clinched second place and you just had 3 games left? I know you're playing for the best possible ball, but knowing that you can't win the first place, how much less stress is there now for you?
Oh, I don't know about less stress. I think our team, we have to be motivated the same way again this week and each and every week. And that gets to be the challenge as you get through the grind of the season, you get late in the year here. That sometimes that monotony sets in, and we can't let that happen. We got to have a great day today and put this game behind us, learn from the mistakes, and get ready to go play Tennessee. And getting another conference win is important to us.
How would you evaluate your offensive line since the bye week?
Again, inconsistent. Like a lot of us. I feel like there's many groups and that you can get better, and they've had some good moments. They've been inconsistent this past week. There's a couple critical mistakes, and again, I think, as I mentioned earlier, a fraction more protection here or there. We have an opportunity for some big plays, and that margin for error is small.
I think the last 2 weeks you haven't really been able to get the run game going. How much is it on the backs, and how much is it on the line?
It's group effort, and it has something to do with the guys on the other side as well. So I think there's a combination of all that.
Mark, I noticed on TV some of the analysts were speculating that Vinny may be a little worn down. Is there anything to that?
No, I don't think worn down. He beat up. I think if you play as many snaps and run the ball as hard as he does, you're going to get beat up a little bit. And I'll see him later on today. He's bruised. His ankle is more of a bruise than it is a sprain, and so we'll see how tender that is.
Okay, how well do you know Jeremy Pruitt, and what have you seen from things?
Yeah, I know Jeremy just from crossing paths and, through the coaching tree. We've never worked together. I haven't spent a heck of a lot of time with him. But you see his team fighting and playing extremely hard and improving. And doesn't surprise me. They're getting better and better, playing better defensively. Second part of the year, and you see his characteristics starting to take form. And a tough football team, play very hard, and they're improving.
Do you have a feel for how long Cash and Jordan will have to wear the clubs?
They're definitely going to have to wear them again this week. So I wish we could cut them down some, but it doesn't look like that.
How much, in watching on film, how much do you think it's affecting their play?
It definitely affects them. It affects us. To what extent? I'm sure it's not comfortable for them. I'll say this: they did both do some very good things with those gloves on, and you saw kind of surprised me at times. Some of the good plays they made, and there's times when you could tell when not having the grip really hurts them.
Is there any thought of splitting them up so you at least?
Yeah, there was. And again, we did that late in the game when it was heavy run. Put Chris in there, and Chris did some good things as well, and we may have to mix it up a little bit. That wasn't a good game for DeAndre. Just being a true freshman and that size, tough.
Mark, we're 9 games in, and the team doesn't really seem to me, at least, to have an identity offensively. Is that a fair statement? And
Who are you talking about?
The team in general,
Our
offensive
team?
identity, yeah. Is that a fair statement? And what would you have liked the identity to be by this time?
I think it's fair for you to put anything you want on it. So I don't think we look at it like that. I think we know very clearly who we are, and I think again, knowing certain opponents, what's going to be extremely difficult. Those teams aren't at the top of college football for no reason. They're pretty good.
Mark, you used Lynn Bowden in so many ways, and his numbers sort of reflect the Randall Cobb type of game. What has been the difference? Obviously maturity and knowledge, but what has been the difference between this year and last year for him?
Well, experience. With every opportunity, he's getting better. He's working extremely hard. He's practicing more consistently. He's learning the details of playing that position. We know the skill he's had. You see the skill set, and you see the ability with the ball in his hands, but he's working harder when he doesn't have it in his hands.
Mark, even though Tennessee has struggled to rush the ball for the most part, what have you seen on film where you feel like they're close to breaking out of it?
Well, anytime you have the talent at wide receiver that they have, always makes you conscious of those guys and not leaving your corners in one-on-one situations all day with the talent that they have and the speed that they have outside. And that could open up some opportunity for some big plays in the run game. They've had some injuries at the offensive line. I'm sure did not help them. But they're a talented, good football team and getting better with every game.
Isaiah Epps got a lot more reps than we've seen earlier this year. What did you see from him in that game, and why was he getting more?
Yeah, he's been working hard. He's been consistent in practice, getting better. You saw some other packages where we're getting some other guys mixed in there, trying to get some spark and some good play out of our outside wide receivers.
Is the package for Ahmad the pass interference package?
Well, we're trying to complete that. But that goes down for 30 yards that he doesn't get credit for, right? So, yeah, and Fish, is getting better also. And, he brings a different change. He brings some great speed. And he's getting better. And, it gets hard, for those guys because opportunity in practice and just the reps and all of that. And that's why experience matters. And so those guys are making some improvement. We got to continue to work them in.
Devontae continue to come along now that he's had a lot more reps the last?
Devontae played very good. He was our player of the game on the defensive side of the ball here this week. He played a good football game. He had to step in and play free, which he's been working that medium package, the nickel guy, and so he's had to split reps and didn't get as many reps at free last week in practice, but stepped in the game and did some very good things. Fought through those pinch sets that I was talking about, and shot through and made some tackles, was disruptive, made a, very critical open field tackle that was a difficult tackle. Did some good things and pleased.
How encouraging is that, considering you're not going to have Darius for the first half this week?
Yeah, it's very encouraging, and like I said, sometimes with opportunities like that, certainly we want Darius in there all the time. He's a leader and plays extremely tough. But when opportunities like that arrive, it is interesting to see how those guys are going to step in, and I anticipate they'll play very well.
Mark, you mentioned after the game about that this week would be a big week for leadership on your team, and Coach Grant and Coach House both echoed that. Have you been, what do you think about the leadership up to this point in the season? Has it been what you wanted it to be?
It has been. It has been. The guys have been very good. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to have some ups and downs, but we have enough guys on this team and enough leaders. And you saw that Saturday after the game, and I anticipate the guys will come in ready to go today. I'll meet with a few of them before our team meeting today, and I expect great leadership like I have most of the season.
Does this feel a little weird though? Because you guys sort of played a championship game, and now you've got a fourth of the season left to play.
Yeah, it's like that. You're gonna, like I talked last week, the situation's gonna change every week, and this is a different situation. We're going on the road. We're playing Tennessee at Tennessee with our last league game, and it's very important to us.
Mark, what do you know about the losing streak? 34 years, I think, since you won in Knoxville. Is that something you'll bring up to the team?
I will not. No.
I'm not second guessing, but I am curious about your thought pattern when you scored with 9 minutes to go and pulled within two touchdowns, kicking the ball long versus doing an onside kick.
Yeah, I thought about it for a minute. Or 30 seconds. Didn't put. I felt like we had to get some stops, and if you kick it and you don't get the onside kick, you're putting your team in a really bad spot. You're down 2 touchdowns at that point. If you get a stop, you get a 3 and out. You get the ball back in good field position, you have a shot, especially because the offense was starting to move the ball at that point. But defensively, we really didn't give ourselves many opportunities.
When you guys played Tennessee last year, Jared Gortano only played a couple of games. So from what you remember seeing of him last year to starting pretty much the whole year this year, what are some areas he's growing in?
Yeah, you can see him. He's really good when he's in rhythm. And he's got some really talented wide receivers, and he's playing more confident and experience and getting better. And he's done some good things.
I know you mentioned that you don't like to put the stress of these streaks on your players, but how nice would it be with a stack for the players to end not only the Florida streak, but the Tennessee road streak in one season?
I think just beating Tennessee is important to us. Whether there's a streak involved or not, why would that make a difference to our team, really? They don't know anything about 34 years ago. They be honest with you, they really don't care. They want to win for their team this year. And I think that's very important, and that's motivation for us. For me, to say that, of course, I always say that. I acknowledge the importance to our fans. I acknowledge the importance to our state and community, but to our team, they're hungry for each other and for this year.
Terry's only had 15 incompletions in the last 2 games, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what you foresaw when you first decided to roll with him at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, and again, anytime you have a first-year starter, you're going to go through some ups and downs. They have to play. They have to go through. They have to go through some failure to learn from those things at times, and he's getting much better. He's been much more consistent. Again, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, we have to look at ourselves also to make sure we're putting them in a position to be successful and the team in a position to be successful. And I thought we had a good plan. We moved the ball pretty effectively at times and just stalled out. And again, as I mentioned, certain things we hurt ourselves with, but it was a difficult team. They're very good defensively, very well coached, and so but I thought I saw progress.
He mentioned before that Missouri game about not having maybe the same kind of spark or fire under his butt. Mm-hmm. Do you think that adding Gunner into the equation helped light that fire?
You know, you'd have to ask him. I mean, competition brings out the best in all of us, and I think, you know, our players, you know, are seeing that at every position, and that's always going to be the case here. You have to earn your way on the field, but you also know that, you know, experience matters. You're going to go through some growing pains with inexperience.
Since you've had a few hours to digest this, when you look back, what do you think the team can take away from being on that stage and you know, really learning from what it was like?
I think you always, you have to learn and grow from every opportunity. And certainly in that game, we have to take some good from that. And, you know, we have to learn from that, and they will. You know, I think that matters. You keep on, you know, get in that position. And you have to earn the right to get in that position from a lot of hard work, and we got to continue to do that. I think it's pretty evident that we need to continue to recruit. You know, those guys are pretty talented.
Did they attack Josh Allen any differently, or was it just a standpoint of their running game was working so well, it just wasn't having any opportunities to rush the passer?
Yeah, they're good. I knew that going into it. They're well coached and they're smart. They were not going to put themselves in a vulnerable position. They weren't going to let him change the game, and you know they didn't. And I think they do a very good job that way with the sets, the way they play, the way they protect. And we didn't do our job. You know, if we're more efficient on first, second down and get him in more predictable situations, that's when Josh will have more success. So credit them, and we need to do a better job of just putting him in that situation.
Mark, Election Day is coming up. Do you make it intentional to speak to the team about the importance of exercising their right to vote?
I do not. No, right or wrong. I got other things to go on when I meet with them. So I'm sure I'll get a lot of darts about that. I'm not educated enough on it, to be honest with you, to go, you know, put my opinion into it right now. I'm concentrating on other things.
Do you believe in trap games?
What's that, buddy?
Do you believe in trap
games? I think, you know, certain games set up better than others, and but it's always up to you and your team to get them in a position to be successful and get them right in the mind, and you know, have a great week of preparation.
Mark, you guys have talked about being sound on the road because it's like we're all in this, just us.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be a help this week going to Knoxville, that they're not surrounded by a lot of hype and stuff like that?
You know, I think we've had good concentration on the road, and you know, we like to you know, talk about that because that's a fact. That's the way the situation is. You know, we're in there and we get on our bus, get on our plane, and go there and kind of united, and you know, no distractions. And, you know, that's what it dictates, and that's what it is. So therefore, we better make the best of it.
There's always so much discussion about one game at a time, but when you look ahead, you guys still have a ton to play for. Do you talk to them about that beyond this, that there are these 3 games that mean a lot?
Oh yeah, and we always look at it as 1 week seasons, but it is a fact as you get towards the end of the year, and as they're, you know, starting to get mentally and physically beat up, that they have to, you know, recharge themselves and refocus for these last 3 games. And so therefore I will talk about it briefly, just like when I talk about first half and second half. You know, as you get into this last segment, you know, we'll discuss that briefly, and then we'll get obviously onto this week and the things necessary to win this game.
Everybody good? Anybody else? All right.
Thank you.